Welcome back, everybody, to Dope Like Comics. We are continuing our journey of reading all the runs of Fantastic Four, hopefully before the movie comes out at the time that I am recording this. If you're watching this in the future, it's probably already been out for a long time. But if you're watching this down the road, but this is Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 6. So we're volume 5 was the first volume without Stan and Jack. And so we are firmly in the Roy Thomas run and era. And as we see, we have the DM cover of the Fantastic Four resigns. Here's the spine. And as you see, we're continuing our characters on the bottom of the spine. Volume 5, first 4 is, of course, the Fantastic Four, each member of the Fantastic Four. Volume 5 was Doctor Doom. And now we have Galactus. Kind of disappointed we don't have a Namor yet. Hopefully that will be in Volume 7 if we get a Volume 7. That would be, we'll have Namor there. So we have all the covers of the issues on the back. We'll talk about what this collects. If we take off the cover, it's just sort of our standard under the dust jacket design that they have been doing. I'm going to try to do this overview a little quicker than I have so I can just make the videos a little bit shorter. But of course, I want to talk about the creators and what's collected. So in here we have Fantastic Four, Volume 1, 164 through 203, and the annuals 11 through 13, Marvel 2-in-1 number 20, and annual number 1, and then What If number 1, number 6, and 11. So like I said, the majority of this book is written by Roy Thomas. Lin Wein comes in for a stint, and then we have Marv Wolfman. And overall, let me just say, this volume is fantastic. It's in the name, Fantastic Four, but it is noticeably better than Volumes 4 and Volumes 5. And you can maybe you can make an argument with Volume 3, but this is the best Fantastic Four since Omnibus Volume 3. And we have George Perez on the majority of the artwork, and Big John Buscema and Sal Buscema comes back. But George Perez is throughout this book. And personally for me, this is my favorite George Perez works. I know he has some great Avengers, and he has great work at DC, great work on Wonder Woman. Maybe the Wonder Woman I might like that a little bit better, but I love this work and his pencils here. And I actually think it has a lot to do with one of my favorite inkers, Joe Sinat. He has been the primary inker throughout all of the volumes of the Fantastic Four. He is an unsung hero. He keeps everything looking very uniform. It's not jarring when you get these changes of artists because he keeps everything in line. So we'll talk about a little bit over some of the stories, but I'll try to keep it a little bit shorter. Minor spoilers. I'll try not to give away anything big, just give you a sense of the kind of stories that we have in here. But we kick things off with issue number 164. And this guy, Crusader, I won't tell you about this story, but Crusader, I think, is what's really interesting is he will go on. They go on to call him Marvel Boy for a bit, but this is where we get the nega bands, and this is where he goes on to be Quasar. So the Mark Grunwald run, which is famous, later on. And then, of course, when you get to Annihilation, this is sort of early days for the character. I don't think this is his first appearance. I think he had one prior to this, but early appearance from who will go on to be Quasar. And also here we get Johnny, a new love interest, which is Frankie Ray. She will be around for a while and be very, very important to the story, especially later on. We get this story where they're actually, in this story, kind of opposite or going against the Crusader in this story. But these are the pencils by George Perez, and they're just gorgeous. give you a sense of the art. Here we get the next issue, or the next arc, mini arc, is we have the Thing and Hulk sort of coming together, and they're on a plane. The Fantastic Four are on a plane traveling, and I just think this is hilarious. The Hulk is just randomly doing his leaps and crashes the plane, so the Fantastic Four now have to sort of save the plane. I thought that was just like, you're flying and you just randomly run into the Hulk, which is interesting. In this, they end up having to, go and get the Hulk and sort of restrain him, in which Ben Grimm, so this is still part of the setup, Ben Grimm feels some kind of way about that, and now it's the Thing and the Hulk, not fighting one another, but sort of teamed up, and the Thing sort of sees himself in the Hulk and seeing him chained up, and he's sort of like, you see him as a monster, do you see me as a monster? So he sort of relates to him. So now they have to go on to take on, the three remaining members have to take on the Thing and the Hulk together. And what's interesting here is the Thing being in close proximity to the Hulk, who is giving off gamma radiation, is having some interesting impacts on the character. While I won't go into how this story wraps, there's no way around the spoiler of sort of what ends up happening, because it's a very big part of sort of the next pieces, and that is, I won't give it away, but what ends up happening ultimately is the Thing becomes cured because of the close proximity to the gamma radiation. So now, where have all my powers gone? he's sort of been, we have to replace Ben Grimm with Power Man, Luke Cage coming in. I love Luke Cage. Luke Cage is amazing. So hero for hire. So now he's hired as a replacement on the Fantastic Four for Ben Grimm. And, everyone knows that Ben Grimm's sort of thing has been, I don't want to have the powers. I want to be back human and normal. But when he sees someone sort of stepping in his place, he starts to get a bit jealous and like, hang on, I'm supposed to be the strong guy on the team. So this is like really interesting, to where we go on a kind of a stint of Ben Grimm not having his power. So we're still dealing with the aftermath of that. Him having to get into fights and not relearning how to fight, but learning how to fight without the superpowers, and being comfortable with what his new limitations may be. And Luke Cage and Sue Storm has just like some really great interactions. There's just some great character interactions. And while at this time, so Sue Storm is still Invisible Girl, not Invisible Woman, Invisible Girl. So she's still girl at this point. It's not until later in, I believe, John Byrne's run that she changes to stop using the girl label. But this is the first time that it's questioned, of Luke Cage saying, hey, I don't want to be that guy, but I don't know if it's in this, which frame it is. Here it is. He said, I've been wondering how come you're not Invisible Woman. And so she kind of gives like, hey, I'm still comfortable. This is a name that I am choosing, that is of my choice. But this is really the start of the seeds of Sue Storm becoming not only just a bigger part of the team, stop being sidelined, sort of powering up and being appreciated a little bit more. So this is the first conversation. So Luke is the one who sort of plants the seed of, you're not a girl. Why are you going by that? Maybe we need a stronger name to go for. But she kind of declines it now, but we'll see that come up over the issues of her sort of getting a bit more agency and power. Luke, some shenanigans are happening with the villain. So of course, Luke sort of goes crazy and everyone's like, what's going on? This is a part of the story, and now we see Ben Grimm return to the Thing. But why is Ben Grimm separate from the Thing? Well, small spoiler. It's important. Reed creates a robotic body for Ben to go into. So now he's the Thing, but in a suit. Not quite as strong as he was. They make a point that he's not as strong as he was, but he gets there. We have an issue which goes on to be, I'm trying to show you here, with the Invader. So we have Namor, Captain America, and Human Torch, the android, the original Human Torch. And so we get some time travel, going back in time, dealing with some Nazis. This becomes like a side quest for Ben solo in the Marvel 2-in-1. But we get some of that. Let me try to skip forward a little bit just so I'm not rambling too long. They deal with the Destroyer armor. And here, still Roy Thomas and Bill Mantlo coming in to do some scripting and the art. These stories are, I'm not going to go into them as in depth just to kind of keep the video shorter, but these are fantastic stories. In this one, I think this is the start of it, but basically we have the encounter with Counter Earth. So now the High Evolutionary. His first appearance is eluding me. Did he start off in Thor? I want to say it's kind of eluding where he first appeared. We have Adam Warlock in Counter Earth. Adam Warlock's not in this story anymore, but the Destroyer armor from Thor 228. He comes here and is a thorn in the side. So Counter Earth and the High Evolutionary is seeking help from the Fantastic Four, and Galactus has come to eat Counter Earth. That's why the High Evolutionary is reaching out. So we get confrontations with, and this is the standard cover actually right here. I believe this is a Jack Kirby cover. It's the alternative, but this story is great. It's great. It's High Evolutionary. It's Galactus. It's all cosmic. We see them dealing, them trying to fight one another and come into conflict. And I don't want to say it. It ends fantastic. It ends fantastic. This is probably the story to buy this for. It's great. I like to have Evolutionary ever since Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So yeah, so here's the fight. High Evolutionary versus Galactus. Are they equal? How strong is the High Evolutionary? Or, is it one-sided? We'll see. That story is great. And then we get a kind of a moment. So I remember, so this is Roy Thomas writing The Impossible Man. And The Impossible Man, I think he was all the way back in, I'm sure there's going to be a note of it, but I want to say like issue 5, not 5. It's like the first 10 issues. They don't have an editor's note. It was one of the early Fantastic Four stories where the Impossible Man showed up. I think it was like 13. And everyone, a lot of the fans hated him because he's just like a shapeshifter and super powerful, can do anything. But Roy Thomas talks about in his letters how he loved that character. So now Impossible Man is going to come back and be around for a while. And they even end up going here into the Marvel's offices. So we have Jack Kirby, who I think is back at this point in time, back at Marvel. We had left, and now I'm just trying to see what the 176 was. November of 76. Yeah, so Kirby is back at Marvel now. So this is him in the bullpen. We have Roy Thomas is here. Some of the, you'll see some of the other like Marvel writers and artists who are around. And so there's all this hijinks within the actual Marvel office. I always get a kick out of when they break the fourth wall. Like the Frightful Four comes back. They're excellent. They're always good. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Oh, this is good. This is good. So from following the adventures of Counter Earth, we do come back to like the Reed Richards from Counter Earth coming back, and it is good. So there's gonna be a Reed Richards from Counter Earth. It ends up going into the negative zone. We happen to deal with like Annihilus. Tigra's here. Tigra and Thundra, who was a big part of Volume 5, the Omnibus Volume 5. It comes back. I love that character. I love both of the characters. Tigra, I don't know if she's on the Avengers at this point or not quite. I don't know if she's quite on the Avengers yet. But this story is great. Possible Man is here. Eliminator. I'm trying to get to when Dave Hunt starts inking it, but I may miss it. The Molecule Man comes back, teams up with Claw. Claw is obviously a longtime Black Panther villain, but started in Fantastic Four. Has been a Fantastic Four villain for a while. We got Agatha Harkness. I believe she has quite a few story plots in this one as well. We get into her backstory. Wyatt Wingfoot comes back. I don't think we've seen him since Volume 3. So he's been gone for a while. He has an adventure with Johnny Darkhold. So we learn more about Ben's backstory a little bit here, or at least when he was during his pilot days. Namor is back. Was this the Invincible Man? Yeah, Invincible Man. Of course you need Doom. Doom always has to be there. And the Red Ghost makes his return. I forgot the... Oh, this is where this has to do with the coup or revolution in Latveria, to where the Fantastic Four, there's a revolution or resistance of one of the, I think it's the son of the former ruler, who's trying to rise up and take over Doom's, free the people, free the land. So the Fantastic Four need to sort of help them dethrone Doom. And I believe that this is where I don't know if... Oh, they're trying to take all of the powers from the Fantastic Four and combine it into Doom's son. Because Doom is trying to... Basically, he's starting to get international heat. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to give up the throne. I'm going to give it up to my son, who's going to have all the powers of the Fantastic Four. And sort of be a proxy ruler. While the actual resistance is actually trying to actually dethrone Doom, because they don't think he's actually going to give up the throne properly. But these stories are great. Then we get the Inhumans coming back. Y'all already know I love Inhumans. They are just a fantastic group. I love Black Bolt so much. Trying to recall. I think one of the big stories they have, I think it's actually the next volume, but this one's okay. And now we have, let me see if this is Marv Wolfman who's starting to write. Yeah, Marv Wolfman, because I think we're going into his run. So this is the annual, but the Sphinx is going to be a big deal, especially with like the crossover. It's a crossover that kind of comes between this and the next volume with Burn, but the Sphinx and them sort of defeating the Sphinx here, who was like a very powerful villain who he usually is like Nova's, Richard Rider's arch villain, but they defeat him and send him off. That's very important for an upcoming big crossover event. And we got some more annuals. Got dealing with like the Mole Man. We have Daredevil here. The Watcher and Spider-Man are around. Just want to continue to show you some of this art. Spider-Man comes the 5th number. But that story is good. I think that's all I kind of want to share as far as for the stories for now. Doom, of course, he's never done. So he's back. I think these are the what ifs, actually. I think that's what this is. These are the what if issues. Which I don't necessarily, these are the what if. So the actual proper story is done, and now there's just like, what if the original Marvel Bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? So what if like Jack Kirby and Stan and all those guys became the Fantastic Four? So all of these issues just end with that, but let's take a look at, got some of the covers and things like that. But overall, I love it. It's a great volume. This to me is a return to form. So I strongly recommend this one. Especially over volumes 4 and volumes 5. It's just fantastic reading, and I'm glad that the book is back on track. So, but I do like volume 5. I do like 4 and 5. This is just better material. Roy Thomas is just more mature. He's less trying to imitate Stan Lee here, and is far more comfortable with his voice. I do recommend this book. I think it's really good. So thank you so much. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll keep going.